I want you all to know that we are fighting the fake news. It's fake. No. You were quoting Tim Russert, and you were quoting, you were quoting Tim and you were quoting me. Why didn't you read my quote the way I said it?
I tried to pull it up and I didn't have Wi-Fi.
Well, then you got to get Wi-Fi, okay? Don't ask me questions like that. You're not a very good reporter doing that.
But your campaign had an ad showing migrants climbing over walls and so on.
Well, that's true.
But
they weren't actors.
They're not going to be doing that.
They weren't actors. Well, no, it's true. Do you think they were actors? They weren't actors. They didn't come from Hollywood. These were people. It happened a few days ago, and
they're hundreds of miles away, though. They're hundreds and hundreds of miles away. That's not an invasion.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN,
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question, Mr. President. If I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, I was going to ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr. President,
that's enough.
Mr. President, I had one other question, if I may.
Go ahead, Peter. Go ahead.
In Jim's defense, I've traveled with him and watched him. He's a diligent reporter who busts.
Well, I'm not a big fan of yours either. So
I understand.
To be honest.
So let me ask you a question, if I can. You repeatedly said
you aren't the best,
Mr. President. You repeatedly over the course of the...
just sit down, please. Well, when you report fake news, when you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people. Go ahead.
After 3.5 years, do you regret it all the lying you've done to the American people? On
all the what?
All the lying, all the dishonesties.
That who has done?
You have done. Tens of thousands.
Go ahead, please. But the truth is, I've debated twice this year, once against Joe Biden and once against David Muir of ABC. That was amazing, 11 times. None for the other side. Do you think that's fair news? I don't think so. That's fake news. A few days ago, I called the fake news the enemy of the people, and they are. They are the enemy of the people. Because they have no sources. They just make them up when there are none. They make up sources. They're very dishonest people. In fact, in covering my comments, the dishonest media did not explain that I called the fake news the enemy of the people, the fake news. They dropped off the word fake. And all of a sudden, the story became the media is the enemy. They take the word fake out.
Since you attacked CNN, can I ask you a question?
John Roberts, go ahead, John. No. John Roberts, go ahead. CNN's fake news. I don't take questions. I don't take questions from CNN. CNN is fake news. I don't take questions from CNN. John Roberts of Fox. Let's go to a real network. John, let's go.
Well, we're a real network too, sir.
We so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. So my question, sir, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment opportunity zones, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. Historically, black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense, and then you said you can't do it with Zoom. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was wrong.
Mr. President, I would love if you could answer the question on your rhetoric and why you believe that black voters should trust you with another 4 years.
I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer. Okay, question? Yeah, go ahead. Sure. She's shocked that I picked her.
No.
She's like in a state of shock.
I'm not thinking, Mr.
That's
President.
okay. I know you're not thinking. You never do.
I'm sorry?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
In a tweet this weekend, Mr. President, you said that it's incorrect to say you're limiting the scope of the FBI investigation.
What does that have to do with trade? I don't mind answering the question, but, you know, I'd like to do the trade
It has to do
questions,
with the other
right?
headline in the news, which is the Kavanaugh
I know,
nomination.
but how about talking about trade, and then we'll get to that. We'll do that later.
Do you think the trade,
Anybody have a trade?
Do you
Go
think
ahead,
your trade
please.
deal will pass through Congress, sir?
I think so, but, you know, if it doesn't, we have lots of other alternatives.
If you look at some of these questions, do we have enough masks? No. Do we have enough tests? No. Do we have enough PPE? No.
Why would you say no?
Do we have enough medical
The answer is
equipment?
yes. I think the answer is yes. Who said no to that?
I'm saying this
No,
is...
no, you're saying no, but who said no? But you asked me, do we have enough masks? Yes.
We hear from doctors, we hear from
No, you
health
didn't say
experts.
that. You said, do we have enough masks?
Does the country-
Yes. Do we have enough tests? Yes. Do we have enough ventilators? Yes. Do we have enough hospital beds? Yes. We've built 20,000 hospital beds. We have enough hospital beds. Go ahead, Jim, let's go.
What do you say to... I mean, you watch the coverage.
You know what I
I'm
say?
watching a lot of the coverage.
Well, a lot of it's
These
fake news.
doctors who... No,
A lot of it's
it's
fake
not.
news. A lot of it's fake news. Let me just
When
tell
the
you.
doctors and the medical experts
governors-
come on our air
the
and
governors
say that
reported-
we don't have enough tests, we don't have enough
The governor,
masks.
yeah, depending on your air, they always say that, because otherwise you're not going to put them on.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus? There are reports of dozens of incidents of bias against Chinese Americans in this country. Why do you keep using this? A lot of
Because it
people
comes
say
from
it's
China.
racist.
It's not racist at all, no, not at all. It comes from China. That's why. It comes from China. I want to be accurate.
About Chinese
Yeah,
Americans
please,
in
John,
this country?
please.
The debates behind you. Are you
I
comfortable
have
with this term?
I have great love for all of the people from our country, but as you know, China tried to say at one point that it was caused by American soldiers. That can't happen. It's not going to happen. Not as long as I'm president. It comes from China. Yes, Jim Acosta.
I wonder if you could comment on this disconnect that we seem to have in this country, where you are presenting information about what's happening at the border, calling it an invasion. What do you say to your critics who say that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you couldn't get it through other ways?
What do you think? Do you think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons, because your question is a very political question, because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news. I know Hillary met my campaign manager, and I got the chance to meet the people who are working so hard to get her elected. There they are, the heads of NBC, CNN, CBS, ABC. There's the New York Times right over there, and the Washington Post. They're working overtime. True.